YouTube, what's up? Back again for another daily fishing video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Today's video, I'm in the studio. I'm going to sit here and walk you through a very important tool that you can utilize the next time you're trying to get ready for a body of water. Sometimes it's a body of water you've been to, sometimes it isn't. But this is definitely going to help you using Google Earth to your advantage. And there's a couple little things on here that I think are really going to help you the next time you're out there trying to break down a body of water. But real fast, if you have not, hit that sub button in the bottom right hand corner. I would greatly appreciate it. And comment below, do you use Google Earth and how do you use it to make it more effective for yourself? But hey guys, I'm just going to tell you flat out, this is a huge tool in my arsenal, and I'm going to show you some tricks and tips to help you the next time you're using Google Earth. So today we're going to be breaking down Grand Lake, and not just the whole lake, but I'm going to just show you a couple things that I do, real easy steps to help you break down the body of water that you're going for next. So let's go ahead, and I've already done a little bit on here, but let's go on up to Grand. Grand's the northeast corner of Oklahoma. Here's Tulsa, that's where I live currently, or at least for one more week. And here is Grand Lake. So Grand Lake is a pretty big lake, and so for me to sit there and break it down for you in an 8 to 10 or 12 minute video, it's kind of hard to do. And I'm not going to break down the entire lake. But what I do a lot of times, I mean, I'm talking like a week or two in advance, I'm actually breaking down Google Earth on most bodies of water that I go to. The only time that I'm not really using Google Earth is if I know that the lake is going to fish more offshore. And even then, you can kind of break it down because on one little trick that I'm going to show you. So let's go right up here to the main boat ramp where almost all takeoffs are. And this will give you a good breakdown on what you're seeing. This is the main, I think this is called Wolf Creek. Yeah, Wolf Creek Park and Boat Ramp. This is a big time boat ramp on Grand Lake. That's where the Bassmasters Classic's going out of. That's where most tournaments, big tournaments, go out of. So what I'm about to show you is a really important tool that I'm going to explain throughout this basic video. So if you come up here in the top section, you're going to see kind of like a clock with like a green arrow going backwards. It says show historical imagery, use the time slider to move between acquisition dates. So I'm going to click on that, okay? And right now it is showing 6/2021, so that's not accurate. So I'm actually going to hit the back button. And so actually this imagery comes from 3/2015. So March of 2015, this is the exact image was taken of the lake. So March. So there's a couple of things that you can say about that. March is a big time tournament time. So, I mean, I'll be honest, you're going to see boats fishing. And that's a big deal because you're going to see them fishing certain types of banks. In certain situations, you're going to see how low the water or how high the water was in March of that particular year. You can use this all to your advantage. So one thing that I always have pulled up with this is a water level based off of each year. So you can actually just go into Google and search Grand Lake water level. And you can backtrack that. I think it's like 6 or 8 years, or 10 years. So I mean you can actually look at the exact water level it was on that particular month, and it'll help you break things down. So in this situation, 3/2015 was this. So if I hit the little side arrow here, you see this is it's still, the water actually is a little bit higher here. 9/2021. As you can tell, this whole parking lot's gone. So you know that the parking lot was actually built after 2011. So that's a big thing to notice. So there you go. There's the big parking lot, and that's the finished deal right there. So this is, like I said, this is where a lot of tournaments go out of. So one thing that I do is I always start at the actual boat ramp that I'm taking out of, because so many fish get released, especially on a lake like this, get released at the primary boat ramp. Now, Grand Lake, this situation is a little bit different because what the Grand River Authority does is they actually will take fish from the weigh-ins and transport them to different locations throughout the lake just to kind of redistribute the fish population so it's not all jammed up into one section of the lake. I wish a lot of lakes did that, but most don't. Most will drop them right there where the tournaments go out of. So in this situation, I'm still going to break down the area next to the boat ramp, starting out first. So as you can tell, this is typically where off limits sits, is right outside of this particular dock, sometimes right here between this point. And I'm going down through here and I'm looking at the bank composition. I want to see exactly what's on the bank. Is there big rock? Is it steep? You know, here's a big tree laid down. That tree always stays there, and so does that one. Those are good places to catch fish. Go down through there, you don't even see a whole lot of trees in the water, so you know that's obviously, oh, and here we go. Here's a boat right here. He's fishing this slab. Like I said, this was in March of 2015, so you know he's fishing the pre-spawn. So is he throwing a spinnerbait on this? Is he cranking it? Is he throwing a jig? You don't know that, but you can start assuming, okay, this is what this guy's fishing here. So I can go through here, and I'm looking for differences. Here's another little boat ramp or road coming out. I'm going up, and here we go. Here's the first little thing I want you to see. Here's a point sticking out off the bank. Now, is this going to be seen on avionics or the Humminbird mapping or your Garmin units? Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's a weird deal how that works. It depends on how detailed the map is. And sometimes it's so small and it's off kind of around a corner that people aren't even paying attention to it. So I will drop a waypoint here and mark it 0.1. And then I'm keep going down the bank. Oh, here's another big rocky point. You know, the deal about this bank, I'll zoom out real fast so you can see. This particular bank has a ton of docks on it. As you can tell, there's nothing but docks. So a lot of times these little tiny kicker points get lost a bit. And that means that a lot of times, either early in the morning or late in the day, you can pull up to these places and you might have them to yourself. And you can catch some fish off of them. A lot of fish actually in Grand Lake get caught out of Wolf Creek. Now this is a very interesting situation here. As you can tell, when you're going down this bank here, you know, a lot of it looked the same. I accidentally went too far, so exit ground level. You will do that if you try to over zoom. I do that all the time. As you can tell, this bank has no big rock. It's mainly, you got some slabs running out, you got a little bit of trees, some metal. And then right here is a very interesting situation. You have some big rock, and it looks like it's been dredged right here. This is the perfect spot to catch them on like a spinnerbait, cranking. You know, they'll sit in these little dredge spots, and it works really, really well. So I will actually a lot of times mark this side of the rock and that side of the rock to just remind myself that there is rock on this particular spot. So that's one way that I use it. Now, I want to show you one thing so my map is still set on March of 2015. I'm going to take you down to, this is Horse Creek. This is a big popular creek. And I want to show you something. So as you can see here, we have the map. And, you know, you don't really see a lot of detail, but you see me mark hard bottom 2, hard bottom 1. Now watch what happens now. I'm going to hit this arrow over. I'm going to go back in time a bit more. Oh, the lake is flooded. You can't see anything. Hit it one more time. Now look at it. As you can tell, the water level's lower on 9 of 2011. Now, it wasn't as good an image on the upper end of the lake on 9 2011. In this situation, I can break down exactly what I'm seeing. So this is kind of a muddy bank, probably not as good a bank, you know, when I'm thinking about what's good, what's not good. And then I get to this hard bottom bank. This is the type of place that I'm going to look at and say, okay, when that water drops, when those fish are transitioning out, I want to look for something that's a bit different. This isn't going to be on your avionics, guys. This is going to be something that you have to physically either see with your eyes, know it's there, or see it on Google Earth. So I'll mark a couple of dots there. And as you notice, now this bank gets to that same type of rock, that hard bottom. It's small rock, but it's rock nonetheless. And I can go around this whole island, okay? And all I'm doing is scrolling and looking. I'm looking. Oh, there's a roadbed. That's pretty cool. I might mark out on this roadbed and just so I know the path of the roadbed. And this is what's very interesting, is when I get to this point right here. As you can tell, there's a bunch of foundations on the side of this island. You know, if I look at it when the water's higher, I say in 413, these two you can't even see at all, and these are almost completely submerged, if not submerged completely. And then I look in 3 of 2015, these are a little bit out of the water, but not completely. And then these are almost completely submerged. So you have some targets to go fish that will not be on maps, guys. So it allows you to find these little isolated places that not everybody's going to see. You can do this everywhere, you know, especially if you have any sense of the understanding of patterning fish and how they set up. I can, beyond just that, I'll drop waypoints on these two, and I might even put water level. But, one thing that I will say is you need to know the water level on 315, March of 2015, and kind of take an average because it's going to range through that month. But just know that the water's not super high. It's not in the bushes here, but it's still low enough that you can fish some of these targets. But one thing is to have that basic knowledge of patterns. So let's say, for instance, that this time of year, and I want to go back to the 2011, so 9/21, and you can actually tell the difference between flat banks and steep banks. As you can tell here, this is a really steep bank here. The bank is really short. And the way that you know this is when you're looking at this bank, you already know the water's pretty low right now. I mean, if you looked at that other island, the water was pretty low. Well, this bank is really skinny. There's not a lot of distance between the trees and the rocks. So that's a fairly steep bank through there. This particular time of year, let's say March of 2015, that steep bank might be the lead way to where these fish like to spawn. Maybe on a spawning flat, like this flat here. They might spawn here, and lo and behold, there's a boat sitting here. So the fish might spawn here, and they transition through this steep bank coming off the main lake, because we're right here beside the main lake now. And so, actually the main lake's right here. And you can see here's another steep bank. Look how steep that thing is. It has docks all over it, and you know that those fish are going to use that to transition as well. That might even be a really good wintertime spot. That as the bank flattens out, and then gets steep again. You've got to pay attention to these key little differences when you're looking at water level. I don't care if I'm on the south end of the lake and it has great mapping at September 2011, or if I go to 3 of 2015, I'm going to look all across the lake until I find the exact mapping, the exact date that works for that section of the lake, because it's not gonna translate. Sometimes one of the lake might not even have the same mapping dates because it's such a big lake. I run into it all the time on Toledo Bend, are these really large reservoirs or rivers, for instance. I mean, you look at the Red River in Louisiana, you look at Pool 5. Well, Pool 5 might have a completely different map set than Pool 3 does, which is 100 miles away. So you have to really pay attention to exactly what you're looking at. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you the next time that you're out there trying to break down a body of water that maybe you have been to or maybe you haven't been to help you catch more bass. If you have not yet, hit that sub button in the bottom right hand corner and comment below, did this tip help you? I'd love to know if this actually is going to help you out there on the water. I'm going to tell you flat out, guys. I'm not seeing the interaction or traction on my videos here as of late. So any interaction here would be great, just so I know that I'm giving y'all the right product. If I'm not giving you the right product, I need to change what I'm doing. So guys, comment that below. Let me know what you think, if I should keep doing these videos or if I shouldn't. Love to hear it, and I hope you enjoyed this video.